Girl Scouts, my name is Lexi and welcome to Flower Power. I'm part of the Girl Scout Advisory Group, or GSAG, and we're here today with Tammy Hempstead, owner and entrepreneur of Accent Floral and Galleria in Columbus, Nebraska. Thanks, Tammy, for being here with us today.
You're welcome, and I think you probably feel kind of weird saying that because
bit.
you work here. The reason we're kind of in fairly close proximity is we work together every single day, and we each know what the other one does when we're gone from here. And while it is COVID-19 pandemic, we are extremely careful here to not be this close usually to each other. But for the benefit of this interview, we are this close. We both know we're healthy right now. We do not normally have a comfort level with this. And so one of the things as an entrepreneur I've had to do is to adjust to COVID-19, and perhaps we can talk about that a little later. But Lexi has some questions that I want to make sure I answer. Shoot.
So, how long have you been in business?
We'll be 4 years this coming September 2020.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about this place?
I could tell you a lot about this place. What kind of questions would you like to know about the place? Like what we do here?
Sure.
We are a full-service floral shop, which includes everything from dried flowers, silk flowers. We've dealt with wooden, paper, all kinds of floral, up to fresh floral. And we do weddings, anniversaries, any kind of thing a person might need. We get all kinds of different requests from all kinds of different people. And we also have classes here. Of course, right now we haven't. We'll adapt to this kind of technology for that. And just pretty much we're problem solvers, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, Lexi works here for me, so she's learned a lot in the last couple of years that she's worked here. Can you think of anything to add to that we do?
We just
I know.
help.
Well, and you would all say I'm a counselor, but haven't been doing a lot of that lately because we haven't had people coming in. But all kinds of, we wear lots of different hats, as they say. Got another question for me?
Yeah. So, how did you know that this was the right place to be? How did you know how to start?
Yeah, that's a great question. How to start? I don't think the average citizen could just start a flower shop and be successful. I worked for a local flower shop, and I pretty much am self-taught. I watched lots of videos. I continue to watch videos. I watch a minimum of 3 videos a day on some kind of improvement, either self-improvement in my profession or even new concepts and ideas, because I believe we continually evolve and learn, and if we don't, we stagnate. So pretty much I'm self-taught, and then the rest of it I'm learning as I go. As far as the business end of it, that was a little more intimidating. But I find that if your dream isn't scary, it's not a big enough dream. Yeah. So I've overcome that fear, and now I'm very successful. And now it's just like evolving, expanding. Yeah.
Right. So, in your opinion, what are the essential characteristics or qualities of an entrepreneur?
Okay. So an entrepreneur, I feel, you have to have tenacity, and tenacity might be a big word for our listeners. Sometimes you'll hear people say stick-to-itness, or staying with something. You have to be extremely stubborn in a way. You have to believe beyond everybody else's belief in yourself and what you can do. You should never try to be an entrepreneur at something that you don't feel is like part of you, right down to the very core of who you are, because it will test you on every level of who you are as a person, physically, mentally, socially. People try to undermine you a lot. So you have to have the confidence to know, no, this is what I should be doing. Also, it's the kind of thing that you have days where you feel pretty overcome sometimes, but if you give it another 24 hours, you'll find that you are always pulled back in and feeling like, okay, this is worth it. Something happens. You've seen that yourself, where we've had some bad days, crazy days, all kinds of things. But within a 24-hour period, you tend to get pulled back to what your life purpose is. And if that being an entrepreneur is that, you will just know it. You just know. No one has to tell you. If you're trying to talk yourself into it, you're not an entrepreneur.
Awesome. Thanks. So how did you handle any doubt or adversity towards your ideas and starting your business?
Yeah, and I had a lot of that, especially from men. Everything I wanted to put into this building was continually criticized, critiqued, or told that's a stupid idea, and literally that's the words they would use, by men. And I find as women, we tend to have a little more to overcome, but because we do, we tend to really stick with something we know. If we know something, we know it to our core, like I said earlier. So a lot of times what I did was I would remove myself from the conversation or from the situation. If I couldn't do that, I would politely say, well, that's nice. And we've talked about what that nice means. That's nice means like, I really don't care what your opinion is right now. I'm respectful about it, but I also know at the end of the day, at the end of everything, what happens here is on me. Yeah. So it kind of helps you say, meh.
What was one of your biggest challenges opening and running your own store?
Wow, there were a lot of them. I would say the biggest challenge at the beginning of opening the store was having to open the store before I felt it was ready to open. There wasn't enough merchandise in here, and things needed to be done, but I had a lot of pressure on me from the bank, from the landlord, and from my husband to open the place. And I knew that it would give the wrong impression to people coming in, that they would think, seriously, this is it? And that is the impression it gave. And fortunately, though, enough people stuck with us, kept coming in, and our volume of materials grew. And so people would come in then and say, wow, and you've been here since then. The people would come and say, man, the last time I was in there's hardly anything. Well, that would have been like 3 years ago. So that was a huge obstacle to overcome. And the other obstacle, I would say, was having people trust you with floral work, because floral is expensive and it dies. It's like produce. So people want their dollar's worth, and if you do not do the steps correctly, which I preach to you constantly, the floral will not last. And so sometimes you're also at the hands of whoever's selling you that floral. If they're not selling you a quality product, you've seen that too, you feel a lot of stress over that. But again, I've learned just to trust and let go of the worry about it, because that doesn't change anything, and say, okay, how can I improve this the next time? So I'm always looking for a way to improve anything, even cleaning processes. And now with COVID, right, we've changed our morning procedures. Yeah, you just adjust.
So can you tell us what a day in the shop is like?
Well, now my day starts with I come in and I disinfect every surface I think that my staff will touch. Which is like about a 15-minute process for me. And some of it I do the night before now, because I've, it was kind of funny because you learn as you go. The first couple of weeks I was in here by myself when they had the shutdown. And I would take my keys and go over to the door to unlock it, because I've had our doors have been locked since March 15th of 2020. And this today is, what are we on? The
16th of June?
The 16th of June. And I would haul my keys or leave them over there. And then one day I thought, just take the door key off and leave the door key in all day. That took me about 3 weeks. But again, because you're so preoccupied. So my day starts with that. I put that key in that door. I disinfect starting from that key, the door handle, and work my way through. I try to think of every surface you guys might touch, everything that might affect you. If boxes come in like today from another source, they get sprayed with disinfectant. They have to sit for a minimum of 15 minutes. And then we're, of course, very careful with that cardboard. We get it out of our way. And, depending on the day, we process, which literally is getting flowers kind of from a dead state, wouldn't you say, back to life in a way. And that is a process. That's why it's called processing. So that can take a lot of time. We were doing that today. There's still some more to do because we have a wedding. So those kinds of things. If we're not processing, then we go into this time of year where it's slow. We might be cleaning, doing extra cleaning, things like that we don't normally get to do. Each day is different. You've seen that yourself. It's never the same day. You learn something new every day. If I'm training people, it always takes longer because of the time it takes to explain and do. We do a lot of answering the phones. Right now we do a lot of trying not to get frustrated by spam calls. And you're learning to identify those even. That avoids a lot. So all of our days are involved with customer relations, relationships with each other, learning. You have learned a bunch of new skills, like working with silks. Like yesterday, you knocked out 2 wreaths in time that it probably would have took you a couple days, right? In the past. And it just switches. It's like a light switch. Click. And you know how to do it. And that's a skill that you can take on in your life and use in different ways. So I'm doing many things. I'm teaching, I'm serving customers, I'm counseling, I'm doing all kinds of things all day long, and each day looks different.
Mm-hmm.
Never boring.
Never.
No.
Well, thank you for being here with us today.
My pleasure.
And please join us on Wednesday, July 1st at 2 p.m. for part 2 of Flower Power. Tammy is going to talk about some flowers and make an arrangement for us. So
Thank
Girl
you.
Scouts, please post a picture of your gardens, flowers, or flowers outside where you work.
Ooh, I'd love to see those.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.